The true story behind the princess and the beast. In the kingdom of Eldoria, nestled between emerald hills and shimmering rivers, stood a grand castle where Princess Isabella resided. This is not the fairy tale you might expect, spun with delicate threads of magic and whimsy, but the true story of how Isabella met the beast and how their destinies intertwined in a tale of courage, redemption, and love that defied all odds. Prologue. The Curse of Prince Damien. Long before the events that would unite two souls, there was a prince named Damien in the neighboring kingdom of Valtoria. He was handsome, with jet-black hair and eyes like storm clouds, but his heart was cold and proud. One stormy night, as lightning split the sky, an old beggar woman knocked on the gates of Valtoria Castle, seeking shelter. Damien, disdainful of her ragged appearance, turned her away with a sneer. "You dare ask favors of a prince?" he scoffed. "Be gone, or I'll have the dogs set upon you." Unbeknownst to him, the beggar was no ordinary woman but a powerful sorceress named Morgana. Her eyes flared with fury as she shed her disguise, revealing a figure cloaked in midnight robes, her voice echoing with power. "For your cruelty and arrogance, Prince Damien, you shall live as a beast, hideous and feared, until you learn humility and love. Only then may the curse be broken." Before Damien could protest, a searing pain coursed through him. His body twisted and grew, fur sprouting across his skin, hands morphing into claws, and his face contorting into a monstrous visage. He roared in anguish as Morgana vanished into the storm, leaving him alone in his darkened castle. His servants fled, his courtiers abandoned him, and the once proud prince became a legend, a beast haunting the ruins of Valtoria. Chapter 1. The Restless Princess. Years passed, and across the border in Eldoria, Princess Isabella grew into a woman of striking beauty and sharper mind. Her raven-black hair cascaded in waves, and her hawk-like eyes missed nothing. She was the only child of King Alaric, a fair but stern ruler, and Queen Seraphina, a scholar who filled the castle library with tomes of history and philosophy. Isabella inherited her mother's love of knowledge and her father's resolve, but she chafed under the constraints of royal life. "Why must I stay within these walls, father?" she asked one crisp autumn morning, her voice edged with frustration. "I'm 18 now, old enough to see the world beyond Eldoria." King Alaric sighed, his graying beard catching the sunlight streaming through the throne room. "The world is full of dangers, Isabella. Wild beasts, bandits, rival kingdoms. Your place is here, safe with us." Isabella bit back a retort, knowing argument was futile. But that evening, as she wandered the castle gardens, the wind carried whispers from the servants. "A beast," one murmured, her eyes wide with fear. "Spotted near the enchanted forest, huge, with claws like swords and eyes that glow." "A beast," Isabella echoed to herself, her curiosity igniting. She had read of such creatures in her mother's books, dragons, griffins, cursed princes, but never had one appeared so close to Eldoria. That night, as the castle slept, she donned a dark cloak, slipped past the drowsy guards, and set out for the forest, determined to uncover the truth. Chapter 2. The Encounter. The enchanted forest was a labyrinth of ancient oaks and whispering pines, bathed in silver moonlight. Isabella moved silently, her dagger tucked beneath her cloak, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and exhilaration. The air grew colder as she ventured deeper, the silence broken only by the rustle of leaves. A low growl rumbled through the trees, and Isabella froze. From the shadows emerged a towering figure, its body covered in midnight black fur, its claws glinting, and its blue eyes piercing the darkness with an almost human intensity. She gripped her dagger, but the beast raised a massive paw, not in threat, but in plea. "Do not be afraid," it said, its voice deep and resonant, carrying a trace of sorrow. "I mean you no harm." Isabella lowered her weapon, though her pulse raced. "Who are you? What are you?" The beast sank to the ground as if burdened by its own weight. "I was once Prince Damien of Valtoria. A sorceress cursed me for my arrogance, transforming me into this thing. I have lived in exile, shunned by all, for years." Isabella studied him, her fear giving way to compassion. Beneath the monstrous exterior, she sensed a soul in torment. "Why did she curse you?" Damien's eyes clouded with regret. "I was vain, selfish, caring only for power and wealth. I turned away a beggar woman who sought my aid, not knowing she was Morgana, the sorceress. She cursed me to remain a beast until I learned to love and be loved in return." Isabella knelt beside him, her cloak brushing the forest floor. "Can the curse be broken?" "Only if someone sees beyond this form and loves me for who I am," Damien replied, his voice barely a whisper. "But who could love a beast?" In that moment, Isabella made a choice that would alter her fate. "I will help you," she declared. "I'll stay with you and teach you what it means to love and be loved." Damien's eyes widened in disbelief. "You would do that? For a stranger?" "You're not a stranger," she said gently. "You're a man seeking redemption, and I believe everyone deserves a chance to change." Chapter 3: The Manor in the Woods. The next day, Isabella returned to the castle and announced to her parents that she was embarking on a journey of self-discovery. King Alaric frowned, and Queen Seraphina's eyes narrowed with concern, but they trusted their daughter's fierce spirit and let her go. With a satchel of books and supplies, Isabella moved into Damien's secluded manor, a crumbling relic of Valtoria's past, its stone walls draped in ivy and its halls echoing with silence. Life in the manor settled into a rhythm. By day, Isabella and Damien explored the overgrown gardens, where wild roses bloomed despite neglect. By night, they sat by the fire in the grand library, reading tales of heroes and villains, kings and curses. Isabella taught Damien about kindness, how to tend the plants, how to share what little they had with the forest creatures. In return, Damien revealed the wonders of the natural world, the songs of birds at dawn, the dance of fireflies at dusk, the strength found in admitting one's flaws. Their friendship blossomed like the roses outside. Isabella saw past Damien's beastly form to the man beneath, gentle, thoughtful, and burdened by guilt. Damien, in turn, marveled at Isabella's courage, her sharp mind, and the way she challenged him to be better. Slowly, unspoken feelings stirred between them, a tender thread weaving through their days. Chapter 4: Shadows of Envy. But peace was fleeting. Far from the forest, in Eldoria's bustling court, a nobleman named Lord Cedric grew restless. Tall and lean, with a smile that never reached his cold eyes, Cedric coveted the throne and saw Isabella's absence as an opportunity. When rumors of the beast reached him, he seized his chance, spreading tales of a monstrous threat to rally the villagers. "The beast will destroy us all," he proclaimed in the town square, his voice ringing with feigned concern. "We must hunt it down before it attacks." The villagers, fueled by fear, took up torches and pitchforks, marching toward the forest. Isabella and Damien, unaware of the gathering storm, were in the manor's courtyard, laughing as they planted seeds for a new garden. The first sign of trouble was the distant glow of firelight through the trees. Damien's ears twitched. "They're coming." he growled, his claws flexing instinctively. Isabella grabbed his arm. We'll face them together. As the mob burst into the clearing, their shouts filled the air. Kill the beast, they cried, brandishing their weapons. Lord Cedric stepped forward, his smirk triumphant. Princess Isabella, step aside. This creature is a danger to us all. Isabella planted herself between Damien and the crowd, her eyes blazing. Stop! He's not a monster. He's Prince Damien, cursed by a sorceress. He's changed, and I love him. The villagers faltered, their anger wavering. But Cedric laughed. Love a beast? You're bewitched, princess. Move, or you'll die with him. I'd rather die than let you harm him, she retorted, drawing her dagger. Chapter 5. The Sorceress's Judgment. As the mob surged forward, a blinding light erupted in the clearing. Morgana appeared, her robes swirling like shadows, her presence silencing the chaos. Enough! She thundered, her voice shaking the earth. This was not the curse's purpose. She turned to Damien, who stood protectively beside Isabella. You were cursed to learn humility and love, not to perish in hatred. Tell me, Prince, what have you learned? Damien met her gaze, his voice steady despite his beastly form. I've learned that true strength lies in kindness, that wealth means nothing without compassion. Isabella showed me that, and I love her with all I am. Morgana's stern expression softened. She looked to Isabella. And you, Princess? Do you love this beast? With all my heart, Isabella said, her hand finding Damien's claw. Not for what he was, but for who he is now. The sorceress nodded. True love breaks all curses. With a wave of her hand, golden light enveloped Damien. His fur receded, his claws retracted, and his form shifted back into that of a man. Tall and handsome, with kind eyes and a gentle smile. The villagers gasped, dropping their weapons in awe. Lord Cedric, his scheme unraveling, turned to flee, but Morgana's magic ensnared him. For your treachery, you'll serve the kingdom you sought to ruin, she declared, transforming him into a mute laborer bound to Eldoria's fields. Epilogue. A Kingdom United. Damien knelt before Isabella, taking her hands. You saved me, in every way that matters. She smiled, tears glistening in her eyes. And you showed me the adventure I always craved. They returned to Eldoria, where Damien revealed his identity as Valtoria's lost prince. King Alaric welcomed him as an ally, and soon Isabella and Damien were wed in a ceremony that united their kingdoms. They ruled with wisdom and compassion, ensuring no one was judged by appearance alone. Years later, as they sat with their children by the manor's hearth, now restored to its former glory, they recounted their tale. The forest, once feared, became a place of pilgrimage, where a single rose bloomed each year by the old courtyard, a symbol of the love that had triumphed over darkness. And so, the true story behind The Princess and the Beast was not one of enchantment or terror, but of two souls who found each other amidst the thorns, proving that love, in its truest form, can heal even the deepest wounds and break the strongest curses.